Hello to the internet sphere. We have
That's a bold new opening, isn't it? I like it. I'm just staying in.
So hello, internet world. Welcome to another Offside Traps. You have Meps.
Hello.
Flan.
Hello.
Dan.
Hello.
And me, David Fenn, the local football idiot. And we want to discuss more about football. And we have a great agenda for today. We've got my homework, we've got a derby, we've got some brief team updates. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. So my homework.
You're going to rewrite... Well, first you're going to try and learn to play the Champions League theme on bass.
Yeah.
And then you're going to maybe reinterpret it a little with a bit of slap bass. How would you have improved it? And I'm very excited.
Your face looks like you've got something coming.
So I've
look forward to
got
this all
something.
week.
Yeah. Now, I listened to it, and it's classical music.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. So I've only done a couple of bars. I've done it in an acoustic style, and hopefully you'll recognise. Hopefully it's the right tune.
Stop building it up, Dave.
Yeah. So shall I play what I've done?
Yeah.
Let's
hear it.
I think it's this one. Oh, hang on. Oh. Is that the right tune?
It's hard to tell.
At the start, I didn't think it was, but then as it went in, I kind of think it's because that's a it's the build up,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's all
that's the just before it goes to champions,
Just
isn't
before
it?
the crescendo that everyone knows and loves.
It took me at least 45 seconds because I thought initially David got that completely wrong, but then yeah.
I mean, it was lovely. Like,
Yeah.
you can use that. And did you reinterpret your own version?
I'm afraid not, because
Half marks, no composition.
there was a bit of slap. I'll be honest. My son was very ill last week, and I had very limited time.
Don't blame the younger Fen. He would have got the job done.
Yeah, your homework, did he?
But yeah. So I mean that was the right tune, right?
Yeah,
I think it
you're
was.
getting there.
So, yeah.
So learn the next 30 seconds for next week, and
Yeah.
you'll be off.
But
That was really good. I thought.
the next bit is quite a bit more complex. I think.
You've stopped when it got hard.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Life goal.
Yeah. As in the words of Homer Simpson, trying is the first step to failure. That's all I bother.
That's good.
So
Right.
what do I get?
We've only done half.
I've done 75%. There was a bit of slap at the end there.
I'd say half.
I think-
I think half.
I think half was listening to it and making sure it was the right tune. Then another.
Well, we weren't sure you did listen to it.
Go on.
I think it's a solid. It's probably 27 out of 65.
out of 30.
Good.
Was that 30 then? Yeah.
No, it was out of 65. 27 out of 65. Using a 65-point scale to mark that, and
The classic scale.
because you only did half the work, and then that wasn't 100% perfect. So
I did
that's
at
actually a
least,
very good score.
I did at least 70% of it.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Twitter followers, if you disagree with that mark, please do send your comments in.
yeah, send in your reviews,
Yeah.
and maybe you could listen to it to psych yourself up for this week's Champions League games. Just, if you want something a bit different to listen to in the day, a bit of alternative, play it as an alternative opening.
Maybe that can be an ongoing project. Me doing the
Theme tune.
doing a theme tune.
Maybe you could do all the theme tunes. Match of the
All
day
of
next
them.
week.
hang on, don't-
match
match
that day
of the
would
would
be
be,
brilliant.
yeah.
Which one's that? How does that go?
That's the
one.
one.
There you
could
go.
do that.
Yeah, maybe.
That would sound brilliant on bass.
Yeah.
More recognisable as well, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to do an orchestral piece.
Yeah.
on bass guitar. Not impossible, as I've just.
Arrogant.
It's a nice piece of music.
Definitely match of the day, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that can be an
Well, that could
ongoing.
be, if he wants to get up to 65 from, we can,
From,
a late handing in of homework is
We
you
need
could
the
do
other
that
half.
for
Yeah.
the other half, yeah.
That's your extra credit.
What you did was very good, Dave, but
Yeah.
We could put it down as a pending grade.
yeah.
Well, I'll leave it to the Twitter sphere listeners.
I will only be judged by our audience.
But what was it? The court of public opinion. As politicians like to use so often. except when it comes to their own elections, and then.
We've studiously avoided politics for 4 episodes, but here it is. Dave has some opinions. What you do have some opinions on, I would hope, is probably the biggest match this week. And there's been, some significant matches, but it was the Dayfent derby.
The biggest match, yeah.
Team number 1 versus team number 2, Crystal Palace versus Burnley. And you definitely knew it was happening before we told you.
Yeah. Jeffrey schlupped it off Phil Bardsley's. That kind of rhymes.
Sounds
with
like
Burnley.
you're reading it almost.
It's almost like just scrolling through a BBC Match Report.
Yeah, funny that.
Give us some of the emotion you must have been feeling. It must have been really conflicting watching the goals fly in.
Well, I see that our man, what's his name, the tall guy who got
Peter Crouch?
Peter Crouch, he didn't score. What happened to him?
He nearly scored.
He nearly scored.
But you'd have known that because you watched it.
Yeah. Someone called Bardsley, Batshoot, that's a name. And Zaha scored. Someone called Roy Hodgson is the manager of Palace. I bet he was happy. Given Burnley enjoyed their longest ever unbeaten run before losing at Newcastle midweek, Palace were cautious in the first half. Did you notice that? I certainly noticed it when I
definitely thought they seemed cautious.
And Zaha, he was obviously outstanding throughout, like usual.
What do you think of his goal?
I thought it was fantastic. That
Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, the way he headed it, / kicked it, / volleyed it, / knocked it in, / bounced it off someone's leg, / the goalie didn't stop it. And that bloke, he squared it to someone called Chieku Kuyati, squared it to Zaha.
Dave, you need to say their names, man.
Oh.
You can't point at them, it's a podcast.
Yeah. Not everyone's looking at the photos.
But Burnley, they certainly put up a fine defence.
Well, they didn't.
No, well, they didn't.
They lost conceding 3 goals.
And they scored an own goal.
And they scored an own goal.
Yeah.
God, that was
That's what Phil Bardsley did, yeah.
Palace, man. Yeah.
That's what brackets OG means. He's not an original gangster.
That's where you've been going wrong all these years.
And Ashley Barnes, surely, going back to our last podcast, he could be a contender for the... oh no, that's Burnsy, isn't it? Does he have a nickname? Barnesy?
Barnesy. I imagine Barnesy.
I feel like your knowledge is regressing.
Yeah. But all in all, it was a great match, enjoyed by all, apart from Burnley fans.
So were you more happy than sad over the result? Were you gutted Burnley lost, or were you happy Palace won?
Well, I was overjoyed that both had the opportunity to play a decent match together. It's not always that the two teams of such great stature get to play against each other, apart from them.
It's apart from twice a year.
Twice a year.
That may be income.
But no, I thought it was a wonderful match, and despite Burnley's loss, surely it will just spur them on to play even harder next time. And Barnesy.
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 It's like he's your mate.
Yeah, Barnesy was like that.
Thing is,
I thought you were saying Barnsley for a second.
And I'm sure Barnesy will do exceptionally well the next match. And Zaha, he looks like he's got a promising career at Palace.
and is it true that you're being brought in to do team talks at both stadiums?
Motivational
So
speeches.
inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, Roy Hodgson, he saw me speak at Queen of the South once and thought, that's the man I need to spur my team on.
Well, it's funny you should mention Queen of the South because your other got an update on your other European team, Amkar Perm.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, Amkar Perm were dissolved earlier this season. They've been reborn as Amkar something else.
Mullet.
I've forgotten. Amkar Mullet. So
Short back inside.
it was a short fandom, given that they did not exist as a club the entire time that you knew about their existence. But we'll still have that game, the Amkar Fulham game from 2008.
We still have the memories.
Wipe away a single tear. FC Zvezda Perm was re-established during the
Yeah,
off-season.
he's still got the perm.
So,
Dave straight on last minute trying to get a refund on his flights.
I'm not.
Looking up tattoo removal.
But also a new haircut. That Amkar pretty penny.
And filling in another thing that came up last week, I was saying about the goalie story that I sort of half remembered about him playing in the fog. And it was Sam Bartram, who played for Charlton in the 30s, and the game in question was actually Christmas Day 1937. Christmas Day matches. Imagine if there were still Christmas Day matches. That'd be brilliant.
Wow.
I would have Christmas Day matches back.
So he spent he could have been eating Christmas dinner.
He was
busy. Off his day.
He's a man that's committed to his art.
He's really dedicated. So this Christmas game against Chelsea, and there's a couple of quotes from him here from his autobiography. I paced up and down my goal line, happily in the knowledge that Chelsea were being pinned in their own half. The boys must be giving the pensioners the hammer, I thought smugly, as I stamped my feet for warmth. Quite obviously, however, we weren't getting the ball in the net. Time passed, I made several advances towards the edge of my penalty area. After a long time, a figure loomed out of the curtain of fog in front of me. It was a policeman, and he gaped at me incredulously. What on earth are you doing here?
What a man.
Wow.
Well, this is just one of them. I might have to buy his autobiography. Apparently, he also played on the day of his wedding, which was
I heard about
early
that.
in the day.
I did a bit of research afterwards. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Attended the ceremony and then was off to play for Charlton.
Yeah.
There must have been a lot of sprouts consumed that Christmas Day to make that much fog.
It was a different time the first, wasn't it? Primarily we only had sprouts. So that's Sam Bartram, who probably played against one of your Crystal Palace heroes from the Golden Interwar period. We'll have to look that up.
Most likely, yeah. How about some team updates from all of you guys? So, Reps, anything interesting happened this week?
We played Southampton at the weekend. Went 1-0 down. There's a lot of worldy goals in that game. I imagine you saw it on Match of the Day.
Each one of them.
But went 1-0 down by a strike from Southampton, Valerie. Then got back in it with a brilliant goal from Pereira, and then we went 2-1 up, then 2-2, and then last minute Lukaku scored the winner. So it was a good game for us. And the big one for us is coming up against PSG. We've got a lot to do on Wednesday, but we're 2-0 down. Not sure we're gonna go through, but I think be nice to watch. But
is it still Scholzai?
Grolsch.
Yeah. Is he still the interim manager?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's still doing a lovely job. He'll be the long term manager without a doubt. Guarantee it, but and he deserves it. But no, it's not a massive update from us, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
PSG, that game would be a great game to watch because Man United need to come out the traps.
We're 2-0 down away from home. PSG got 2 away goals, so we've just got to go for it. And I think to be honest, for a neutral watching, it's going to be a good one to watch the first half an hour of, because if anything, if we get a goal in the first half, it's going to be a good game. But if they nick a goal at any point, you might as well just change the channel.
for the uninitiated, PSG is
Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah.
And
only one of two clubs in Paris, I believe. It's them and Paris FC. When you think about the size of Paris and the size of London, London's got X amount of teams, and Paris has just got basically PSG.
I think that's why they were so attractive to the investors, wasn't it? Because of the catchment area.
But weirdly, I think Paris Saint-Germain don't have a huge... I mean, it might be different now that they're winning everything because they've got so much investment. They previously didn't have a massive fan base in Paris. Like, there's just not apparently a big football fandom in Paris.
No, I think before Ronaldinho went there back in the day, I don't think there was many. People weren't really that aware of it. But like you say, even now, I think it's more probably visitors to Paris going to see it as opposed to a big kind of Paris following as such. But that's it from us, really.
Yeah.
And Dave, we talked about it last week, saying when the Champions League knockout legs start, that's when the season gets going.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch some really good football, I think second legs of the knockout stages of the Champions League is some of the best football you'll see, because it's single games that are really important. But unlike a final where sometimes teams tend to freeze up a bit because of the hugeness of the occasion, it's just a slightly better atmosphere, I think, or more conducive to really ridiculous good games of football.
Yeah.
So you're going to watch it then now?
I will. I'll watch all of them. Yeah.
Well, some are on at the same time.
You have to dual screen it.
Yeah. Plant, how's Arsenal doing?
Yeah, Arsenal had a good week actually. They had 3 games since our last podcast, and they came away with 7 points. They beat Southampton and Bournemouth quite comprehensively, then drew with Tottenham. So
The big
Tottenham,
one as well.
that's it. Well, it's not as big as the Dave Fent derby, but it's
Yeah.
the North London
What
derby.
is?
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, it was a really good. No, I enjoyed the North London derby.
Yeah.
I was quite encouraged with the team because he lined up with Monreal and Mustafi at centre back. So whilst I wasn't encouraged with the inclusion of Mustafi, it signalled that it wasn't going to be full-backs bombing forward. So that was a positive. And Arsenal defended incredibly well. They were quite hard done by with the result because the goal itself against Arsenal, Kane was offside in the build-up to the penalty. And Arsenal then had a penalty of their own, and there was encroachment on the area. And then, yeah, I just felt they were quite hard done by, really. But 7 points from 9, you can't really complain with that.
Yeah.
Much more moderate than Arsenal Fan TV.
Yes.
And then you got United this weekend.
Yes, that's our big one. Once you guys have PSG.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not overly confident about that.
If the
How do you feel?
FA Cup games, anything, I don't know, because you have in the league, you've picked up, you've looked.
Yeah.
I mean, that game against Spurs, I thought it was the first kind of showing of real like grit and strength from you for a while. So actually,
They defended so well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm confident because of how we beat you in the cup. But I think it could go either way.
Yeah. That
Plus
double
we-
save from Leno, did you see
It's
that?
filthy.
So good. So Dan, an eventful week for Fulham as
Wow.
well.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, two more defeats. so much the same.
That bit of paper.
Yeah, on that paper,
Shredded at the end
my,
of the season.
my notes that I've written down, lost twice. But the moral victory of Claudio Ranieri getting the sack, I think a lot of fans very happy. I am definitely one of them. Scott Parker appointed as an interim manager and already kind of getting, if not getting results, getting a change of atmosphere and a change of quality of play on the pitch. So we played Chelsea at the weekend, West London derby, and lost 2-1, but had sort of fight throughout the entire match. Had a goal ruled out for offside.
Just
that
as
was
well. Very,
just
very
offside. Wouldn't it be better if referees sometimes made the decision that was the most fun rather than the right decision? Because look, Ryan Sessegnon, 18-year-old, like homegrown Fulham talent, scoring a last-minute equaliser against Chelsea in front of like Scott Parker, who's really inspired the team, would have been a much more fun narrative.
A
for
better
everyone.
headline than
Don't you
Jorginho,
know?
who never scores, scoring the winner.
Yeah. 2 points more for Chelsea doesn't really mean anything for their season, I don't think, but it would have been a good result for Fulham. But we looked really promising. I mean, I don't want to call Scott Parker a tactical genius. There's a bit of the Solskjaer, like everyone is just happy effect.
Yeah, he's definitely done that.
He's cracked the conundrum of everyone plays better if you play them in their actual positions, which apparently had eluded Ranieri for 4 months maybe.
One of the shortest serving managers in Premier League history, isn't it?
And
That's saying something. Isn't it?
sort of completely. He didn't do the job he was brought in for. He kind of came in as the defensive manager, and he couldn't make the defence better, and he made the attack worse. So, he's rightfully sacked. He wasn't going to be a long-term appointment for Fulham in the Championship.
What do you think long term, manager wise?
Firstly, see how Scott Parker does. Maybe he is brilliant, and certainly cheering everyone up and playing everyone in their right positions would work. He did well, I think, as Spurs under 18s manager. I'd quite like to see someone come in who just has a system in the way that Djukanovic had a way that he wanted to play and set his teams out, less reactive and more sort of proactive. So we did a Twitter poll. Some interesting tips came back. Some furious Celtic fans who wanted us to take Brendan Rodgers because they were like, he's going to get relegated with Leicester and then he can go and manage you in the Championship. Some people suggesting Mark Hughes for just so he comes in before the end of the Premier League season, so he can lose his record of never being relegated, despite setting teams up for relegation and then leaving.
Obvious ambition that he.
He's got too. The thing is, that is why he wouldn't come back to Fulham, because he had too much ambition the first time around.
It.
But more serious suggestions, I think. Wagner.
It is Wagner.
Wagner did a good job at Huddersfield on a limited budget, and has done well in the Championship before. And another one people were suggesting on Twitter is Lee Johnson, who's currently at Bristol City. They're doing really well on no money. Obviously, he knows the Championship, played good football. And apparently his family are all Fulham fans. So
plus, if he comes in as well, if you, as and when you score goals, you might do the old GIFs that they have on their. Have you seen their Twitter page?
Is this the Bristol?
Yeah. They have the little clips when a player scores. Every player's got a different comedy clip GIF.
I think he might be he's the one who's making them. And he manages the team.
Yeah, that's
he does social media.
He brings everything with him.
It's a full package deal. So I'd be happy with either of them. A lot of people asking for Djukanovic to come back. Just don't think he would come back. I mean, we'd all want him to come back, but you can't go back to your ex. Everyone knows that.
So I've seen some suggestions on Twitter for the next permanent manager. So Scott Parker's the favourite. There's some absolute howlers after that. There's David Moyes.
Definitely don't want that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Swerve that one.
Yeah, pass.
Skipping over the ones we've said already, like Wagner, Claude Puel, 5-1.
The most boring man in football. Pass.
Big Sam Allardyce.
I mean, for the same reason as Moyes, but I imagine on double the wages and personalised Land Rover or something thrown in. Pass.
Who else have we got here? Oh, he's got Carlos Carvajal, the old Swansea manager, and
he's an odd one, isn't he?
Sheffield Wednesday.
He didn't do very well at Sheffield Wednesday. I was really surprised when he got the Swansea job, because Fulham were in the Championship when Carvajal was managing Wednesday, so I saw them a bit. And they weren't very good. And I think it was a big shock when he got given a Premier League job. So, yeah, probably, no, I don't think so. I don't know.
And then this, at 14-1, are the odds of Thierry Henry in the next Fulham manager.
Well, he's smashed it at Monaco, hasn't he?
That's right.
Apparently Jardin's come back and I think he's won 4 out of 5 games since he took over. The Hardeen bounce. So
he had a while to think about what he'd done.
Yeah. They were just pleased to see him again.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go back to your ex. Arsenal obviously played in North London derby.
Yeah.
Fulham played in the West London derby against Chelsea this week. There was also the Liverpool-Everton derby.
Derby,
Yeah, which might be decisive for the title chase. So, Dave, what's your understanding of local derbies?
Very, very little. I don't really know much about the local derbies. So
that would shock the listeners.
So I mean, I can see that it's teams from the local area playing each other, but are they quite big things?
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, it's the biggest game their team plays that season, each season, or biggest 2 games.
Yeah.
And you say locally, who's Crystal Palace's sort of local derby against?
Someone you've got an interest in?
West Ham? No.
Afraid not. That would be that is a London derby.
Do you have an interest in West Ham? I think in the last podcast I said it would be my third team.
They've established West Ham as his third UK-based or England-based team.
It's called, just to give you a clue, it's called the M23 Derby.
M23 Derby.
If you know your roads.
You love a good road.
I like the A3. That's quite a good road.
Right, it's difficult.
just not the way. I mean, you
where's
could.
Where's one of your favourite places in the UK that you used to live?
Sutton FC.
It's the famous Sutton FC.
They're not London though. Put it that way.
Okay.
Not so local.
Oh, Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton
Yeah.
Hove Albion.
Yeah, and that's this weekend actually. This
Well,
Saturday.
that'll be.
Oh, I'm going to the game.
Well, that'll be possibly a bit tasty. It's been a bit
Last
feisty
couple of
the
years,
last few years.
Yeah.
I suppose they hadn't played in the same division for a while, had they? So
No.
it's
Yeah.
built up a bit, the animosity. So
why is it Crystal Palace and Brighton? Is that?
I think I read about this once, and it's a little bit of a no one really knows why it's become this big derby. For Brighton, I guess it's Crystal Palace are about as close a team as anyone.
Yeah.
There's not really they don't really have a South Coast rival in that area.
No.
Bournemouth maybe next one along, but they're not. It's not really much of a.
I did hear as well
rivalry
at
there.
one point, because again I don't really know what it's based on, but I think apparently Palace called themselves the Super Eagles, and then Brighton were called the Seagulls, and it was around that as well. I don't know how true that
It's
is. But
bird-based trench.
yeah, yeah.
I really hope it was the like bird watching communities in both clubs were just like those guys. Their name is very near us,
Yeah.
and now it's just entrenched in the way that rivalries become entrenched, where it doesn't really matter why it started.
Yeah.
Who will you want to win that game?
What,
Out of interest.
Oh God. Well, I think Brighton and Hove Albion because they're.
Oh, just change your team.
Switching. So who
Dave
you probably
has
would
no
say
loyalty.
fourth team instantly in at number one.
Because are they the underdog?
Mildly,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
If
It's
it's because
quite
they're
similar.
below them in the league.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's,
and I guess because it's away at Palace as well. So
Yeah.
in that game,
Dave, you've just thrown away your love for Palace just for the mention of Brighton.
we were getting into half and half. Ian Wright, Burnley,
But you
and
get to
Palace
be-
shirt made up.
You get to see. You get to go by the seaside to watch Brighton. Don't we
Well, you should have
that?
picked. You should have picked this weeks ago. You better hope Brighton win, and then you can transfer your allegiance across.
What do you prefer, Dave? The seaside or Croydon?
I think I prefer the seaside. There's much less of a police presence. Isn't it?
Right. Well, you might be a Brighton fan. We'll see how many times this changes over the course of the season.
Yeah. What's your favourite derbies? What are your favourite derbies?
I quite like the Italian derbies. There's
Yeah.
a lot of
Italian
derbies. There's Juventus Inter's the Derby della Italia, the Derby of Italy, which is, I guess, quite local, but not that local. Turin and Milan, not the same city. There's obviously Milan Derby.
They share a stadium, AC Milan and Inter Milan. So
Wow.
And they have to have home and away allocations in the stadium
Yeah.
that is their own stadium, which is a weird thing to think about.
derbies don't get much more local than that, do they?
No.
Yeah.
Rome Lazio also a good. That's a
Oh
proper
yeah, that's a
fighty
Yeah.
one. The ultras are out in force. So yeah, I feel like Italy do derbies
yeah.
the best
Yeah.
of the
We
big.
we went to Real versus Atletico,
We
didn't
went
we?
to the
once?
Madrid derby. Mourinho was in charge, wasn't he? Of Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, yeah, and it was because I remember De Gea was in goal for Atletico Madrid, and I think it was Kaká and Benzema scored for Real Madrid, and then Aguero scored in the last minute to make it 2-1, and then that was a good one. Atletico Real was good, but I think it's Italy. Italy's where it's at in terms of like
Atmosphere
and feistiness. I think.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
But not so. It's not like the sort of South American derbies where you would probably worry about getting out alive.
Yeah.
Or even the Old Firm derby. I think that's. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would survive.
Do you know what that
in
is?
Glasgow?
No, really.
It's Glasgow Celtic versus Glasgow Rangers.
Is the match we went to in Brazil? That's a derby. Vasco da Gama versus Botafogo.
Yeah,
I think
that was
that's
at the
a Rio de
Maracana. Yeah,
Janeiro.
we went. You went to that?
I remember that was the first match I'd ever been to, and as far as I recall, the match was pretty dull.
Yeah.
But which I was surprised about, because
It's because
No,
it was
no.
Brazilian football.
yeah,
wasn't it?
you just expect that Brazilian teams are going to be amazing, but I suppose we only see the creme de la creme of the
Yeah.
Brazilian
Once
teams.
we moved to Europe,
Um,
the place.
The atmosphere
Yeah,
was.
but the atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah, it's
I
incredible.
remember they had loads of flags, and they had little fireworks, weren't they? And
Yeah.
the crowd,
Yeah.
it was nuts. It was
We
all-
nearly went to a Boca Juniors game, didn't we?
Yeah.
As well, one morning, but I think we went out the night before and didn't wake up. So,
Slept in.
Didn't
past
quite make
kick-off.
it. It was a big weekend for derbies in the Premier League, Dave. So one that we haven't really talked about very much, the Liverpool-Everton derby, which it's been, the matches are not always that great. Certainly this one was a 0-0 draw. There's
Yeah.
sort of chances on both sides, but it might have a big effect on the title chase because now Man City have pulled a point ahead of Liverpool.
they were 10 points behind. About I think it was in. Was it this turn of the year? I think it was 10 games ago or
Wow.
something. And they've turned it round. It's
amazing, yeah. Pretty good.
who do you want to win out of them two, Liverpool and City?
Liverpool and City. Well, I quite like the Beatles. So, based on that, I'm sure the Beatles would have supported Liverpool. So,
But you also like Oasis.
I do like Oasis, but they're basically
Stone Roses.
Yeah, but I think the Beatles trumped all those because they
Happy
would have all
Mondays?
been, they would have all been Beatles fans. So I think.
So you want Liverpool to win the league,
I
Dave?
think so. Yeah.
This
So,
podcast
so
has to end
to be
now.
clear, you want the Beatles to win the league.
yeah. Yeah. Beatles circa 1967 at the height of their powers.
See, as a United fan, who would you take out of those two? It's
Oh,
a tough choice.
wowzers.
This, to be, I've thought about this quite a lot this season, actually, but
Liverpool wear red shirts like Man U, so
Yeah,
is
no.
that the answer?
so it's
Which
got
bit would you cut off?
yeah, exactly. I think it's got to be Man City without a doubt, because I just, City have won a couple of titles over the last few years, and yeah, they are doing better, but they've got a long way to go to get to the level where Man United are at.
Taking a long view.
Whereas, Liverpool were the dominant team for years, and then Man United smashed them out the water, and it's now, just to see them bottle it again would be lovely. It'll be great. So yes, I mean, I don't really want either of them to win. But if you had to choose one, City, because them winning again makes no difference really at the moment. Whereas Liverpool winning again, they're getting closer to our 20, so I don't really want that.
Very slowly.
If Steven Gerrard slips over in Glasgow, do Liverpool bottle the title?
Flan, what do you think?
I wouldn't mind Liverpool winning, to be fair.
Yeah.
I quite like this Liverpool team.
They play good football.
They play good football.
Obviously City play good football,
Yeah.
but it's nice for a change as well, isn't it?
Just make it a bit more interesting, yeah.
So
Arsenal aren't really anywhere near this title race, so
it doesn't really
for
matter.
me it doesn't really matter, as long as it's not Tottenham.
Fox, how about you?
Well, I'm going to go Liverpool as well because
What?
so I've got, I found
You guys had a chat before this.
my dad always had Liverpool as his sort of second team. I was always assumed it was because he just grew up in the 70s when they were really good, but found out that my granddad was a Scouser who'd moved down to London, so bit of a family connection.
Yeah.
Admittedly, with someone I'd never met, but go Liverpool.
All right, so that's 3-1 to Liverpool. So,
How do you feel about that match?
That's not ideal, is it? I just don't get why no one chosen Liverpool.
You just really hate Liverpool.
Well, it's just like, just choose City. Anyway, let's
so-
swiftly move on.
So, as you know, we've covered in detail the Spygate controversy.
I think
And,
we've drained this for everybody's words. What's left?
I was surprised when you put it back on the agenda. So,
We've got nothing to give. So.
I mean, I know there hasn't been any tangible update, but I thought I just want to have a quick chat about it because I was talking to a Leeds United fan the other day, and whilst
You wanted Liverpool to win as well.
and whilst it was just an interesting chat because I think us four all universally agreed that he was cheating and he just hadn't done it. He just wasn't playing by the rules, even though there doesn't appear to be a specific rule that he's broken. But contrary to all that, I was talking to this Leeds United fan, and he just said, "Yeah, I know it was wrong, but I think Bielsa did a really good job. I think he should just carry on doing what he's doing." And he was kind of saying, "Well, there is no rule that's been broken. He's been doing it since time immemorial. He's done it to previous teams, and he said that lots of managers respect him so much for all the shenanigans that he does and all the effort he goes into to plan his games and all the research he does, that some managers actually go to him for advice." And he did name some, but I can't remember who they were. But he said, and it was just an interesting take on it all, because whilst someone who isn't a fan of Leeds United already
Not
knows
yet.
much about, not yet, could be next episode. I mean, he's
Coming around.
swayed.
Never say never, Dave.
But it was just interesting hearing his take on it and how, even though he appreciated it was probably wrong, he still respected the manager for doing it and wanted him to continue. And I just thought,
Well, he would
it
because it's his manager, and
yeah.
and it is working for,
It is working,
for
yeah.
Leeds, isn't it?
And he just said that the which team was it? Was it Derby?
Derby's where he got caught.
Yeah, and he said that manager's only annoyed because they lost against Leeds. He said if they won, then it wouldn't have caused as much of a hoo-ha as it did. I don't know, I just thought it was an interesting take on it, because I think the world's universally, unless you're a Leeds United fan, the world is universally in agreement that it was wrong. But this guy was up for it, and he said he should just carry on doing it.
It does sort of play into Leeds' opinion of themselves as well, which is that they are universally hated, because they used to be a successful but quite dirty team, famously.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So they've got a bit of a, you don't like us, we don't care.
Yeah. If any of your team's managers did that kind of stuff, would you?
Well, it's like
support
we
them?
said, it depends how successfully they did
Yeah.
it.
If it's the Champions League final and you win it, then I'm sure you probably brush that under the carpet.
Do you think this will usher in a new era of cheating? Because there is technically no breach.
I don't think so, because I imagine there'll probably be a rule change at some point to get rid of it. So I think, if anything, it's probably the start of the end of it, potentially, as opposed to the start of it.
So it's probably the beginning of the end of Bielsa's glittering career.
Well, I mean, I think for Bielsa, it's not his success isn't based on this. This is just one facet of his obsessive
He's still a
football
good
personality.
manager, so
it's really good. I mean, you were saying you couldn't think of the names that he said of managers who had gone to him for advice, but one's Pep Guardiola, who's one of the best managers in the world, went and studied with Bielsa like a monk or something.
Really? Wow.
Went off and learned a lot about pressing football and how Bielsa was setting his teams up.
So is he considered quite a good manager in terms of manager circles?
He's pretty top tier.
I think when he went to Leeds, I think it was seen as quite the coup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To get him, I think it was,
Massive surprise.
Yeah. So.
Has this whole episode been an embarrassing stain on there?
Do you mean the podcast? Or?
Has the whole...
I mean, it's no episode 2, is it? But
It's our difficult fourth album.
Maybe he's still angry at the Liverpool stuff.
it's really soured the tone.
Actually, would you want Bielsa to be a Fulham manager?
Yeah, I'd take him in a second.
Yeah.
I liked Bielsa before he went to Leeds.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a little bit of a football hipsters. Like, I actually liked Bielsa when he was managing in when he was managing in Spain. I used to think he was very good.
When he was spying in Spain.
He was Bilbao manager a while ago, and he managed them to an amazing victory over Man United over 2 legs, where they were very much sort of unfancied going into this UEFA Cup match where United had dropped down from the Champions League. They're very much the favourites, and this Bilbao team absolutely annihilated them with this hard running. United didn't know what were him, and I was like, this is an interesting guy. And he got them to 2 finals, and they lost both because they were so exhausted from his extreme techniques. Because his thing is, his teams burn out because he pushes them so hard.
Oh, interesting.
The interesting thing you probably don't know is, we're going off on a bit of a tangent here, but Atletico Bilbao, they only will sign players from it's the Basque region, isn't it?
Yeah.
So players have to be from that specific region to play for them. So for the team to have done so well over the years that it has, by
From
limiting
such a
their
small
options,
pool of-
so they've done
Yeah.
they've done incredibly well.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah.
There are two good Bielsa stories I've heard about Leeds this year. One was that he had a bed installed at the training ground, so he could just stay there if he worked too late, because that's how focused he is. The other interesting thing Bielsa's done at Leeds is he found out how much the tickets were being sold for, and he got all of the players together in the training ground and made them clean the training ground until they had... So if they were on the sort of average wage of a Leeds fan, he made them work for as long as they would need to work to buy a ticket to go and see Leeds play. So they understood
really?
the value of the
Wow.
team to the
That's
fans.
pretty cool.
It's good, isn't it? It
Yeah.
feels really, especially when you only hear like bad things about footballers, and
Yeah.
obviously it's quite hard to connect with them
Yeah.
compared to what it
Yeah.
used to be like.
Oh, what a guy!
It's interesting.
He's fast turning into my new favourite
team.
football
Yeah.
personality. Maybe I'll support Leeds United next episode.
And then my favourite Bielsa story. I don't know if you've seen this, but when he was Marseille manager, he was I think it was his assistant manager put a put a coffee down for him on his seat, and then he came and just
During the match.
plonked himself right on it. So I don't know. I'll show you the little video now.
Oh, you know it's going to end in tears. Oh, no!
He's absolutely raging about it as well. It's just so it gives it a little kick at the end. I love it. So yeah.
What did he do to his little assistant though?
The assistant
Have no-
had a
have
similar
no follow.
fate to the glass of water. Okay, now it's time for Challenge Dave, the quiz round. So, the first question. What manager did Bielsa / Beasler train like a monk? And it wasn't Gary Monk.
Oh God, it was some.
I like how Dave laughed at that. He doesn't know who Gary Monk is.
Is he a footballer?
He's a manager.
He's a manager.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's a Russian-sounding name, wasn't it? No. Spanish-sounding name. I don't know. It's began with G.
Did begin with G.
Yeah.
Probably Guernsey, basically.
I don't know.
That's pretty good. I'd give half
Close.
a point for that. Because,
Yeah, getting a letter is quite good for Dave.
yeah, and the nationality.
That's the closest. It's Pep Guardiola, manager of Man
course.
City.
Yeah.
So your second question.
Yeah.
What road is the Brighton Palace derby named after?
M23.
That's
Wow.
correct. Eh?
Right on.
You know it well. And which service station is your favourite?
Dave,
Yeah.
related to that, based on this picture of Eddie the Eagle, please could you draw a picture of a super eagle fighting a seagull?
Okay. I'll do that.
As always, we'll post Dave's artistic endeavours on the Twitter account.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this one.
Bloody hell, no. What is that? What is that?
And now the final question, Dave.
Yeah.
Which teams play in the Derby della Italia?
Which teams? Italian
Yes.
teams.
Yes.
It's not.
Clue is literally in the name there, wasn't
It'd be
it?
an amazing trick question if it was Scunthorpe and Swindon.
Which teams? It's Turin. No.
Well, they're based in Turin. That's not their name.
You can do it, Dave.
Is it Florence? No.
What? They're based in Turin.
Okay, they're based in Turin.
We have to rush you for an answer here.
I can't remember.
What about the other one?
Think of two biggest Italian teams.
Milan?
Which one?
AC?
Other one?
Inter?
Yeah.
that's one of them.
Yes.
Versus who did Cristiano Ronaldo sign for?
That's a good question. It's quite a pivotal signing in his career.
The nickname's the Old Lady.
It is, Dave. Why did that tickle you?
It's quite a good nickname. The Old Lady.
The old lady of I don't know.
Well, it's Juventus. Dave.
Juventus, of course.
Yeah.
You still did pretty well there, Dave. We give you Inter Milan, even though we helped you along. That's a half mark. We give you a half mark for getting
The letter G.
the letter G in Guardiola
And Spanish.
and Spanish. And then you did know what road the Brighton Palace derby is named after, and you know your
Drawing's
drawing.
pretty good,
It's
actually.
going pretty well. So I think
Have you been
that's
practicing, Dave?
at least 2 marks out of.
Has the seagull got a bandana on?
No, it's the angry eyebrow.
Oh.
That's going to do well, that one, Dave. I like that.
We'll see your homework now for this week.
Yep.
So first part is a continuation of last week's homework. Make up for the stuff you didn't do. So can you learn to play the match of the day theme on bass?
Yep.
I'll enjoy listening to that. And then we want you to find out or invent, or both, the true history of the Palace-Brighton rivalry. If you come up with a couple of histories, maybe you can have us pick which one we think is,
It's true.
It's true.
Or your favourite.
or the one we want to believe.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Yeah.
has to
This will
be.
be good. You'll turn into the teacher for this one, Dave.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Cool. All right. I can do
You
that.
down for that?
Game on. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, just leaves the last thing for us to do then, which is to come up with a name for this week's podcast. And none of us have thought about that at all.
Old lady.
The old lady.
Liverpool for the win.
Liverpool. Oh, maybe it should be Liverpool for the win.
I'll unsubscribe.
Hashtag Derby Day.
Derby Day. The Dave Fenton Derby.
Yeah.
Hashtag Dave's fourth team.
Hashtag Bielsa forever.
I think we
What about
exhausted Bielsa last week. didn't we?
as Amkar Perm went into liquidation? How about Amkar or bust?
I like that.
I think that's my favourite one so far. All right. Well, if you're on Twitter or any of the other social media places, and you want to talk about this week's podcast specifically, use the hashtag Amkar or bust.
I need to check the spelling of that.
That's it's AMKAR. True Amkar fans will know. Amkar or bust. As usual, you can get us on Twitter at Offside Traps, and we're still on all of the places we were before. You know, where you can get your podcasts and iTunes, Acast. We're on YouTube, and reviews are much appreciated in all those places, and thumbs up and
And tell your
subscribes.
friends
And tell your friends.
if you enjoy it.
Tell one friend that you enjoyed it and get them to download it, and that will double our subscription. And we'll know if you did it because we'll check to see if our subscriptions went up by 100%. So that's it. That's kind of the contract that we're in now. Dave, is that a legally binding contract? Me saying that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that is a trained solicitor. So thanks for that. Well, then, I just want to say goodbye then.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
You hang up.
Bye.
You hang up.
Bye.
I tried to make it to. I mean, it probably wasn't. You know, it wasn't a derby. Don't worry about it.